A pleasant morning to all, and our apologies for the late start. Again, I am Javance Benjamin, the current chairman for the Port of Spain and Environs District. This morning, I have the pleasure of being your master of ceremonies. I ask us to all stand at this point as our national anthem is played on our national instrument by Mr. Lesedi Felix. Thank you. At this time, I invite Mrs. Avenel Louis Etienne to lead us with the tutor's prayer.
As we bow our heads and join our hearts in prayer, we begin with a minute of silence as we recall the memories of our fallen comrades. Almighty God, you are the beginning and the end of all things, and the source of everything that we have and everything that we are. We thank you for having allowed us to be members of the teaching profession and for entrusting to us the education of our young people. We recognize the greatness of our vocation as well as the serious responsibility placed on our shoulders, and while mindful of our own limitations, we promise you, O God, always to strive to improve our skills with which you have endowed us. Strengthen us when our ideals seem to be falling or when we tend to look at things in a negative way. Help us, O God, to be true examples, in deed as well as in word, to our students, and to have a special care for those whose family life is defective or non-existent. Bless our association and give to all our officers and members joy in the work of education. Help us finally, O God, to be true friends to our fellow teachers, and grant that when you call us out of this world, we may come to you to receive the eternal reward, which in your infinite mercy you have prepared for us. Amen.
Thank you. Please be seated. Thank you. At this time, I will bring our welcome remarks on behalf of the chairman of the Joint District Convention. The Minister of Education, the Honorable Dr. Nayan Gadsby-Dawley, the Secretary of Education, Research and Technology, Tobago Division of Education, Ms. Zarisha Hackett, the Vice President of the Trinidad and Tobago Unified Teachers Association, Mr. Adish Dwarka, all national officers, elected and appointed, all immediate past national officers, the feature speaker, Mr. Ian Daniel, all district chairmen of this joint convention, colleagues in education, and other members of the viewing and listening audience. Good morning. The teaching community is called upon today to refocus its effort in helping to develop a more adaptable, flexible, and resilient student, one who is empowered to be a critical thinker, to be innovative, creative, and nurturing towards society and the environment. This year's theme, the teacher we need for the education we want, the global imperative to reverse the teacher shortage. If our theme is to become a reality, our education system requires a strategic and systematic approach by the employer to expose teachers to develop their current skill and learn new skills. The quality and soft skill of the teacher is one of the most important factors, if not the most important. Influencing the success of any learning environment, therefore, teachers themselves need to exhibit those same qualities to ensure what is modeled and what is taught is what is learned and applied. Teaching is more than sharing content and passing an exam. It is about providing the next generation with the tools to becoming productive, contributing members of society with the requisite knowledge, skills, attitudes, and values necessary to shape a better Trinidad and Tobago. While we look forward to innovative, technologically competent, professionally minded individuals aspiring to be teachers, we must also ensure that the environment is conducive to fostering such a teacher. It is imperative for greater consideration, attention, and a concerted effort be made to ensure that our teachers are receiving salaries commensurate with their qualifications. Improving teachers' working conditions and proffering due diligence in adjusting the hours of the school day. The strengthening of pre-service and in-service teacher training by incorporating practical and hands-on teaching experiences provide opportunities for teachers to develop their pedagogical skills, subject knowledge, and classroom management techniques. More particularly, teachers ought to be involved in the policy-making process. Who should be most involved in developing policies for education than those in the trenches of education? The need to ensure teachers have non-teaching days dedicated to professional development, resources to function in a technologically advanced environment, reimbursement to afford a professional being, and respect as a sustainer of intergenerational equity will contribute greatly to reversing the potential teacher shortage. There is no doubt, colleagues, that we are the teachers the education system needs. We only require the respect from all stakeholders of education and for our employer to equip us with the resources we need. I thank you. At this time, we will have greetings from the Secretary of Education, Research and Technology, Tobago Division of Education, Ms. Zarisha Hackett.
the Minister of Education, the Honorable Dr. Nian Gatsby Dolly, the Vice President of the Trinidad and Tobago Unified Teachers Association, Mr. Adish Dwarka, all national officers elected and appointed, all immediate past national officers, the featured speaker of today's conference, Mr. Ian Daniel, all district chairmen of the Joint Convention, colleagues in education, and other members of the viewing and listening audience. A hearty good morning to you. I wish to thank you for the opportunity to address this esteemed gathering of the Trinidad and Tobago Unified Teachers Association Convention today. As Secretary of Education, Research and Technology of the Tobago House of Assembly, I stand before you to discuss a topic of paramount importance: the teachers we need for the education we want, the global imperative to reverse the teacher shortage. What an apt and timely theme. Education is the cornerstone of any society's progress, and at its heart are dedicated teachers. You, our teachers, are the architects of the future, molding young minds into informed, responsible, and engaged citizens. However, in recent years, you found yourselves facing critical challenge: a global shortage of qualified teachers. This issue is not unique to our beloved Twin Island nation, however, but it is a challenge faced by nations around the world. The shortage of teachers threatens to undermine the very foundation of quality education, which is an issue that demands our collective attention and action. Why is this a global imperative? Well, because education transcends borders and is key to addressing the most pressing global challenges, from climate change to social inequality. In an interconnected world, quality education is the bridge to a brighter future, and teachers are the bridge builders. To reverse this teacher shortage, it is my firm belief that we must embark on a multifaceted journey, which includes the following areas. Firstly, investment in education. We must prioritize education in our national budgets. Proper compensation, professional development, and opportunities for career advancement are therefore essential to attract and retain talented educators. This also includes not only competitive salaries as placed on the front burner by the previous speaker, but also comprehensive benefit packages and incentives for educators who excel in their roles. Additionally, we should establish clear pathways for career advancement within the teaching profession, creating a sense of purpose and growth for teachers. Secondly, teacher training and support. We all know that quality education begins with well-prepared teachers. Robust teacher training programs must therefore emphasize both subject knowledge and pedagogical skills. Furthermore, continuous professional development should be readily available to all teachers, enabling them to stay updated with the latest teaching methods and educational trends. This investment in educators directly translates to enriched classroom experiences for our students. Thirdly, innovation and technology. And this is of much interest to me, as you would appreciate that my division also focuses on research and technology. In the 21st century, technology is a powerful ally in education. We must equip our teachers with the tools and training needed to effectively integrate technology into their classrooms. This includes access to digital resources, interactive learning platforms, and the training on how to leverage these resources for more engaging and personalized instruction. By embracing technology, we can make education more accessible and adaptable to diverse learning needs. Penultimately, global collaboration. Recognizing that the teacher shortage is a global challenge, we should actively engage in international partnerships. This collaboration allows us to share best practices, leverage resources, and gain insights from successful education systems worldwide. Through global networks, we can learn from others' experiences, adapt successful strategies to our local context, and collectively address this pressing issue on a larger scale. And finally, inspiration of the next generation. Inspiring our youth to pursue teaching careers requires a multifaceted approach. We should promote the teaching profession as a noble and impactful calling through public awareness campaigns and initiatives that highlight the importance and rewards of teaching. Additionally, we can establish mentorship programs where experienced educators guide aspiring teachers, fostering a sense of purpose and community within the profession. These recommendations, when translated into action, will help us reverse the teacher shortage and ensure that every child in Trinidad and Tobago have access to the high-quality education they deserve. As Secretary of Education, Research and Technology, I am committed working tirelessly with TTUTA and all educational stakeholders to turn these ideals into realities. We must remember that our teachers are the bridge builders to a brighter future, and together we can ensure that they have the support and resources needed to fulfill this vital role. I thank each and every one of you for your unwavering commitment to education and for joining hands in this critical mission. Together, we can make the vision of accessible, quality education a reality for all. I thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hackett. We look forward to your input in the implementation of the needed changes, especially those of improved salaries and benefits, and of course, those educational tools that we need to better meet the needs of our students. At this time, we will bring greetings, or we'll have greetings from the Honorable Minister of Education, Dr. Nayan Gatsby Dolly.
Mr. Martin Lumpkin, President of Trinidad and Tobago Unified Teachers Association, Executive TTUTA and members, specially invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very pleasant morning to you. And I'm pleased to bring greetings this morning at your district convention. Mr. Martin Lumpkin, President of Trinidad and Tobago Unified Teachers Association, Executive TTUTA and members, specially invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very pleasant morning to you. And I'm pleased to bring greetings this morning at your district convention. This gathering holds special significance as you come together under the theme, the teachers we need for the education we want, the global imperative to reverse the teacher shortage. It's a theme that underscores the fact that educators are critical to shaping the future of our nation and the world. Our teachers are the cornerstone of our education system. Their dedication, passion, and expertise serve as the driving force behind our students' success. This is without a doubt. However, we recognize the challenges we face, not only locally but on a global scale, in meeting the ever-increasing demand for quality education, especially given the diverse learning needs of today. Teacher shortages have been exacerbated by the unique challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic. Even as our educators adapted to the uncharted territory and continue delivering education to our students, the pandemic experience shed light on the need for updated or new teaching expertise, new skills, particularly teachers who have been well versed in digital pedagogy. The Ministry of Education has taken steps to address the educational challenges by the implementation of the new Education Policy 2023-27. This comprehensive policy framework is designed to effectively address the following. Professional development. That's an area that the Ministry of Education remains steadfast in its commitment to continue. Teacher induction. We recognize the important and pivotal role in ensuring the preparation of our educators. As a testament to this commitment, earlier this year, 200 teachers graduated from the 2022-23 Teacher Induction Training, conducted in collaboration with the Commonwealth of Learning. The focus was and remains on teacher effectiveness and performance. That training has been specifically designed to support the growth and professional development of new teachers at the ECCE primary and secondary level under the Ministry of Education. In May to July 2023, the Ministry successfully conducted the training of approximately 400 teachers in restorative practices, and this initiative is specifically aimed at changing the mindset, the paradigm of our schools, our school climate, our children, and reducing the indiscipline in our schools. Re-engaging for success. This ongoing project prioritizes our focus in 106 schools, and as a part of this initiative, we have instituted the training of our teachers with specialized remedial math, English language arts, and writing, further strengthening our commitment to student success and academic excellence and teaching quality. School coaches are being recruited now that will come into the schools to help our teachers as well as our students in the implementation phase. Operational efficiencies. Through a combination of digital and traditional strategies, tremendous effort is being placed on improving operational efficiencies as it relates to teacher HR functions. From the upgrade in IRIS, the ongoing digitalization of teacher records, to the facilitation of mass medicals to speed up the process for appointment, the Ministry of Education is committed to making these operational efficiencies a reality, and we continue to collaborate with government ministries and agencies to increase our efficiency and effectiveness of our human resource systems. As you deliberate today at this convention, let us remember that the future of our nation's education system literally lies in our hands. The work we do today will shape the leaders, innovators, professionals, and citizens of tomorrow. Indeed, it will shape the Trinidad and Tobago of the future. It is a weighty responsibility, but it is one that we as educators and policymakers must embrace wholeheartedly. I once again commend Tutor for its unwavering commitment to the transformation of education in Trinidad and Tobago. Together, we will achieve the vision of modern, relevant, quality, equitable education for all. I thank you, and may God bless us all.
Thank you, the Honorable Minister of Education. At this time, I invite our first Vice President, Mr. Adish Dorka, who will bring us our President's message.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Benjamin. The Minister of Education, the Honorable Dr. Nayan Gatsby-Dolly, the Secretary of Education, Research and Technology, Tobago Division of Education, Ms. Zoraisha Hackett, all national officers elected and appointed, all immediate past national officers, feature speaker, Mr. Ian Daniel, all district chairman and joint convention, colleagues in education, a pleasant good morning. The Trinidad and Tobago Unified Teachers Association recognizes the vital and multifaceted role that teachers play in our society. We are the cornerstone of a well-functioning society. We shape the future by nurturing the minds, character, values, and skills of the next generation. Our impact extends far beyond the classroom, influencing the social, economic, and cultural fabric of our society. Therefore, it is critical that we are given the recognition, resources, respect, and financial contribution, working environments to continue this achievement. The theme for our convention this year, taken from Education International, is the teachers we need for the education we want, the global imperative to reverse the teacher shortage. Teacher shortages can have detrimental effects to education systems, leading to overcrowded classrooms, teacher burnout, increased teacher turnover, and reduced student achievement. In a joint select committee meeting on the Service Commissions Department in 2022, the Trinidad and Tobago Unified Teachers Association officers indicated that many schools were faced with a shortage of teachers in various departments. We are hoping that the Teaching Service Commission would deal with the matter of filling these vacancies in a timely manner. However, in May of 2023, the Association of Denominational Boards stated that shortage of teachers is crippling operations at the primary schools and warned that if it was not corrected, there will be significant decrease in the first-year intake in their schools. Recently, in our CARICOM neighbor, Jamaica, their Ministry of Education and Youth reported that 854 teachers resigned during the period January to September 2023, and 1,538 teachers resigned over the corresponding period in 2022. Addressing teacher shortages is essential for achieving the goal of providing quality education for all. It requires a multifaceted approach that includes governments, educational institutions, parents, and other stakeholders, working together to attract, train, and retain dedicated teachers. More has to be done to attract and retain talented individuals in the teaching profession. Recommendations for this include increasing teacher salaries, improving teacher training and professional development, providing adequate teacher appreciation activities, support and advocacy for teachers, and creating suitable and supporting working environments. The Trinidad and Tobago Unified Teachers Association recognizes the importance of having a full complement of teachers for us to continue to provide quality education to the nation's children. We call on the Ministry of Education and the Teaching Service Commission to address the matter of teacher shortages at our ECCE, primary, and secondary schools as a matter of urgency. Let us have a most productive and successful District Convention 2023. Thank you. Long live the Trinidad and Tobago Unified Teachers Association.
Thank you, Mr. Adish Dorika, our first Vice President. As you know, at Tutor, we always have our cultural items. At this time, I invite Ms. Miguela Simon, who will lead us in a cultural capsule.
So good morning, everyone. The world's calypso queen, among the classics that he sing, there's one entitled Education. But all historical context, breathing a generation next, whose academic approach must be redone. There is a deficit and a growing vacuum, and in a vacancy in we graduating trend. No social engagement or passion for national ascent. We promoting a professional class of mimic men. For 17 years, students are grilled, primary to tertiary treadmill, with little or no engagement of their soul. Only exams shape their thoughts, humanities left for naught. The imbalance dehumanizing we world. But there is grave danger if our future leaders are pragmatic but lack sensitivity and social conscience. If only wealth and status, that's the core of their focus. We education system breeding some qualified dunce. We passion for excellence and nation it's schooling, because instead of real education we get in schooling. It was Lyndon Johnson who put his finger on the button. Societies are built in the classroom, where young minds shall run free to set far reaches endlessly, enriching minds enlarging as ideas loom. It's not an assembly line for creating heartless robots who score low on commitment to any cause. When wealth acquisition is the sole cause for education, boardrooms will be filled with predators who know no laws. It took the world plenty centuries to produce minds extraordinary. Plato, Einstein, Shakespeare, Gandhi, Mandela. We must break this third world mold and be citizens of this world, like Usain Bolt, Henry Wendy, and Brian Lara. We can't be aimless and iffy, producing mediocrity, but nurture greatness in we thoughts and in we vision. The idealism of we youth must build bridges and chart routes to achieve first world status through education. I say if we passion for excellence and nation, it's schooling, because instead of real education, we get in schooling. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Every great society knows that where art leads, science follows. The kiss of instinct and imagination, they await possibilities and give us brand new ways to see the great, the profound, the great, and the follow. Caribbean free will too long whipped into submission. We must not be afraid to dream again. Talent must not be stunted. That was what Massa wanted. Self-belief must arise like fire through sugar cane. We must free our nation's soul from contentment and control. Let education breathe a liberated focus. Snap those chains that burden we into pressure and apathy. Contentment is that whale that swallows genius. For yesterday's story and tomorrow's glory are divided by today's will to dream. Trinidad and Tobago will be brighter tomorrow. A balanced education, it must reign supreme. You see, we passion for excellence in schooling, because instead of real education, we get in schooling. Thank you very much, everyone. And this calypso was just to ensure that we think. Right? So it is one of those calypsos to help you think a little bit further. It's not just about entertainment. We are teachers, and I chose this especially because today makes it 20 years since I am in the teaching profession. So thank you very much, and I hope it was thought-provoking.
Thank you, Ms. Simon. And indeed, the words of that song will make us think. And again, due to technology, we have the pleasure of listening to it at home, where we can take in those words. So at this point, we know every year at our conventions, we look forward to our fifth year speaker, where we are able to delve deeper into our theme. And this year, our fifth year speaker is Mr. Ian Daniel. Mr. Ian Daniel is a graduate of the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine, holding a Master's of Science in Sociology. Mr. Daniel has worked in both the public and private sectors in the areas of education, finance, and the service industries. He has lectured at the National Institute of Higher Education, Research, Science, and Technology, NIHUST, the College of Science, Technology, and Applied Arts of Trinidad and Tobago, COSTAT, the University of the West Indies, as well as teaching at both the primary and secondary school levels. Mr. Daniel has lectured in social sciences and industrial relations, and is currently at the Cipriani College of Labor and Cooperative Studies, where he holds the office of Program Dean for Labor Studies. He also serves on the Registration, Recognition, and Certification Board of Trinidad and Tobago as an independent member. Mr. Daniel has a wide array of study interests. These include the sociology of work and industry, the sociology of development, cultural studies, and digitalization. He is also an avid amateur photographer, artist, and poet. Join me in welcoming to the podium our featured speaker for this year's convention, Mr. Ian Daniel.
Good morning, everyone. Please allow me to acknowledge all of the luminaries who have spoken to the community already. And good morning to all of the teachers out there. It is my pleasure to come to address you once again. I was actually very hopeful that this would not be the slot that they would put me in because it's a little bit difficult to follow the calypso that kind of encapsulates everything you come to see. That was a really good performance, a really thought-provoking performance, and provoking the thoughts that I actually wanted to provoke and sound intelligent doing. So allow me please to repeat a lot of what Ms. Simon said. And hopefully get beyond, the speechwriter, canned writing kind of normal ways of addressing these issues and trying to get into the nuts and bolts of it. The theme is a massive one. The teachers we need for the education we want, the global imperative to reverse the teacher shortage. And, well, I just want to give a few preliminary thoughts on that. As everybody kind of indicated, we know what we're talking about in this discussion. UNESCO has talked about the shortage of teachers that would be required to deliver primary and secondary school for everyone in the world. And basically, we understand that, hey, a big part of this is that teaching appears to have become unattractive to a lot of people based on the salaries and the conditions that we face. It's a thing that you see almost every day, everywhere in the world. And as a sociologist, what I'd like to do is to put some of this discussion in context. I have to say it was very difficult doing this because for me, context is factual. It's not supposed to be emotional. It's not helpful when it's simply emotional. You have to know what exactly is happening. But one of the problems in Trinidad and Tobago in particular is that we seem to not like to collect data and to honestly face up with what's going on for us. And so we end up talking in all of these stereotypical terms, a lot of them pulled from all over the world that really do apply to us here specifically. But what does apply to us is that we were looking in 2019 at a population of about 370,000 people between the ages of 3 to 21 in schools, with a population of a little short of 17,000 teachers at the ECCE primary and secondary school levels, which often meant that you're looking at teacher-to-student ratios of 1 to 18, but we all know that a lot of us experience teacher-student ratios that are like 1 to 25, 1 to 30, 1 to 40. And so it clearly establishes that, that we don't have the optimum ratio of students, teachers to students in the classroom. One of the interesting things about the teaching population, which you can see just looking in this room, is that teachers are getting old. People that I met that were young once are no longer as young as they used to look. And which means that we are going to be facing some years of large-scale retirement in the teaching service soon. And if that isn't balanced by large-scale intake, then what we are calling the shortage is going to look like a joke in the next few years. But significantly, we need to look at what the education system is achieving as well. And one of the things that we do know is that the education system just isn't working. All right. The efforts to measure the education system aren't regular, and they're not very public. In 2010, there was an attempt to rank the education systems throughout the world in relation to reading, math, and science. And Trinidad and Tobago's performance was below average in all of the areas. How much better are we doing now? It's not quite clear. We heard a lot of people talk about the investment in education and how much is being invested in education. But you know, what is the meaning of a lot of the statements about what we're putting in and how much we're putting in? Well, Trinidad and Tobago in 2020 invested 4.1% of our GDP in education, which sounds good because the OECD average is about 4.3, 4.4, 4.5. Our average, however, actually dropped from 5.3 in 2015. That's a really radical drop. And if you compare what happens in some of the the countries with some of the best education systems in the world, like for instance Germany. Germany actually invests 6.1% of its GDP to produce an education system that supports research and development and innovation. So at 4.1% of GDP, we are still a little under-resourced, to say the least. All right, and so we know everybody talks about what's going on. We had reference to the Jamaican situation and discussions about what the denominational boards were speaking about in terms of the teacher shortage. So yes, we know there's a problem, but in thinking about the problem, I keep getting pulled back to the statement: the teachers we need for the education that we want. And it's real easy to get caught up in the teachers that we need. And that takes us down the road of we need more pay. Definitely. The Master of Ceremonies was very straightforward with that, and after 4%, I can't see a way of arguing against that point. You know, I mean, that's the basic reality. But what about the other side of the equation, the education system that we want? What does that part mean? Because the education system that we want is going to shape the teaching service. If we can understand what education system we need, what the machine we have to build, then it's going to set the context for what the service itself has to look like to respond to these needs. One of the things that my director at Cipriani keeps saying is that you can't optimize a sub-optimum system. And if the system is problematic, then just investing money in the same old system is not going to solve the problem. It's just going to waste money. All right? So what are the elements of what are the elements of the system that we need to look at? We need to look at the fact that we have structural unemployment in this country. We have, in 2023, it was estimated that nearly 30,000 people are unemployed. And I guarantee you that's an undercount. You know, we're looking at manufacturing representing just 20% of GDP. It's still the oil and petrochemical sector or nothing in this country. We're looking at the fact that research and development, the things that will drive innovation and entrepreneurship in this country, in 2019, we invested 0.06106% of GDP to research and development. Nearly nothing. And it tells you about the economy that we build in this society. It's oil or shop boys and shop girls, which tells you what the system wants from education, which basically is nothing. And then if you put that against the failures of the system, then you understand, hey, there's no real motivation to change it. And if there's no real motivation to change it, then there's no real motivation to invest in making it better. And if there's no real motivation to invest in making it better, then the very things that we're asking for to reverse the teacher decline just isn't going to happen. So what are the major challenges for the society? Because these are the major challenges for the education system. And what I'm trying to do here is to acknowledge that we can't just look at declining teachers in isolation. It has to be in relation to what's happening to the larger society. And what's happening to the larger society is that you're going to see actually reflects what's happening in the teacher service. We have a contraction of state employment. For the longest while, since the 1980s, the government has been trying to lower its expenditure, and its main way of doing that is by reducing the number of people that it employs, and we have seen the wave after wave after wave of retrenchment in our society, the closing down of major industries, and so the loss of the most secure jobs in the country, state employment. We have an economy that does not create sufficient opportunity. We do have some stellar manufacturers, some large companies that are making waves in international trade, but by far and large, it appears that we still buy cheap and sell expensive, and then bank your money in Florida or Toronto, and that's that. We have a reliance on food import, which is incredible because this is still an agrarian society. You have land like that, but we buy everything that we eat instead of growing it, and you're still not seeing any meaningful effort at reinvigorating agriculture in our society. We're facing climate change. We're facing high levels of crime, which is one of the things that you know directly impacts what you do in the workplace. We're facing aging populations. We're facing mental health issues. We are yet to acknowledge in our society and in our region just how badly off we are at the mental health, in the mental health area. And you know exactly day to day the impact of that. We're facing the technological divide. We're talking about technologies, using technologies, and we are so far behind the curve on that, it's debilitating. We are facing insufficient childcare and supervision infrastructure in the society. Again, relating to the increase in crime. And we are in the midst of the highest level of inequality worldwide, where the top 10% of the global population owns 76% of total wealth. That simply means that there's not enough to share for everybody. And what that says is that it's not just the education system that's not working. It is the society that is not working. It is the social contract that is not working. And then when you turn around and look at the levels of unemployment and look at the levels of crime in our society, you wonder why they're there. And then when you have an industry that traps you in the belly of the society, which teaching does. There's no running, there's no hiding. You are in the society, in the belly of society, experiencing directly on the front line everything that is going on with the society. Then is there no wonder that people are opting not to get into this industry anymore? So, what shapes the education we want? You know, those are the issues that we're talking about. Those are the challenges that we're talking about. And so what we're saying is that we have to create an education system that deals with these larger problems. We have to create an education system that produces a better outcome for the society at large, not for the education system itself, but for the society at large. And that means that, as Ms. Simon was saying, we don't want to school, we want to educate. Because we have to create people coming out of society who have the ability to create, who are innovative, and who can become entrepreneurs, and who can create wealth and create business and create opportunity and not come out there looking for work, looking for a job. We have to create, because we ourselves are examples of the aging of this population, we have to create lifelong learning, a tradition and a culture and an opportunity for lifelong learning, because when you live like us to 80, you're going to have to learn new things. You're going to have to develop new interests. You're going to have to keep learning, simply not to be bored. And so that you can be of value, continue to be of value to the society into your 80s, whether you're working to 65 or not. We have to develop civic responsibility and discipline, because we have to turn back this wave of criminal activity in our society that wasn't always there, but like something has gone wrong, something has gone off. We have to develop community. We have to, in relation to climate change, help our society develop a new relationship to the environment so that we are able to survive based on what's happening in the climate today, based on our use of resources, our use of water, based on the experience of the heat that we're feeling today, so that these things do not become extinction level events for our society. We have to redesign social policy. And so what I'm saying is that preserving the status of the teaching, of teaching employment is actually not separate from responding to the problems of the education system. And so while it's easy to talk about the salary and it's easy to talk about the terms and conditions, what I'm suggesting is, again, you cannot optimize a suboptimum system. Maybe we need to look at it from, let us rebuild the system itself. Rebuild the system of education, and in so doing, rebuild the actual profession of education. And if you look at the UNESCO solutions that they've offered, a lot of the solutions that have been offered are about rethinking the education system. It's not just about better pay or better conditions, but about actually going in and rebuilding the education system. UNESCO talks about improving initial teacher education, in continuing professional development programs. That's important. And I'll talk to that a little bit. They talked about mentoring programs and encouraging peer collaboration. They talked about creating a healthy work balance, and they talked about mental health and counseling services to help teachers and students, I put that part in, cope with the problems of society. These are recognizing that there are larger social issues that relate to the problems in the teaching service. And so we need to start to think about these bigger and more universal issues, and how teaching affects that, but how that affects teaching as well. And so what I want to come to is not how much is the proper salary increase and all that kind of thing, but what is the role of tutor in this? What is the role of the teachers in that? To point out the problem and call on the government to respond and to make the investment. We know the investment history, or is it getting involved in defining the new education system, getting involved in renegotiating the education contract, and getting involved in negotiating the social contract of the society. And what I'm suggesting is that this is an opportunity, not just for teaching, but for so much of society, with all of the changes that are happening, that are coming down right now. We have a moment in history, we are seeing a moment in history where we have the opportunity to make big changes. We know the society isn't working. We can point to those issues, those areas where you can see it's not working. Crime is one of them, but education is one as well. And we can take this as the opportunity to say, hey, big changes time, revolution time. And education has always been a part and a point of responding to large-scale changes in society. And so what I'm suggesting is that it's time for Tutor to point out the value of education in remaking the society, not just by stating it, but by showing it. Tutor, for me, has to become a guild of professional educators. Actually, I find it's time to drop the name teacher. We are educators. We are educators from early childhood straight to tertiary level. You know, I pretend to be lecturer. No, I'm a teacher, and I was a teacher from the first day I walked into primary school and met the superheroes who changed my life from primary school. And what we must become are the professional authorities on education. We're not waiting for Ministerial Education to tell us this is what we're going to do and this is what we're going to try. Teachers must own the practice of teaching. Teachers must own change and innovation in education. Teachers must own the knowledge of theoretical developments in education. And so when the discussion starts, when the debate starts about what has to be done in education, the first body at the table needs to be the teachers, needs to be tutor. The people who go out there and say what is necessary has to be the teachers. The people who start the debate has to be teachers. When I look at television, which I do too much, and look at the news in the US, and which I do too much, you know, you always see the teaching, the president of the teaching union in the United States on the news programs, on interview programs, talking not about the strike, but about education. Talking not about wages, but what teachers do. Talking about how crazy it is to be banning books in education. Talking about the practice of education. Who knows that more than you? And who should be leading the discussions, if not you? Because if you don't lead, then you're going to end up in a system that's going to be struggling to maintain itself. You have to make the local, national, regional alliances with other professionals and the alliances with other stakeholders so that you lead the discussion about education. Because the bottom line is, there isn't a social problem, as everyone else was saying, there isn't a social problem in this society whose solution doesn't start in education. And so the problem with paying teachers is a problem of properly valuing the role of education and the scope of education. This is not primary and secondary school and possibly tertiary. This is what do we do with children from early education. This is what do we do with those children who need homework help, who need supervision between leaving school and going home. This is what do we do with adults who need to retool? What do we do with retired populations who need to learn something? What do we do with those children who are being pulled into criminal activity instead of sport, instead of art, instead of entertainment? What do we do to inspire children to come to school and not to break beach? What do we do to inspire children to create instead of look for work? And what do we do to change our bad habits, like all the junk food that we eat, and our lack of what do you call this again? Exercise, our sedentary lifestyle? What do we do to teach our society to value ourselves? I think the answer with all of that starts with education, which starts with redefining the profession. And maybe if we are successful in redefining the profession and its pivotal role in society, then we can actually stop that decline of teachers. I have gone on for much too long. I thank you for your time, and I hope you have a good day today.
Thank you, Mr. Daniel, for what I could say was a very inspiring and a lot of words for us to think about. And of course, we would come back to that discussion on that theme and those words that were given to us. At this time, I'd like to invite Mr. Lesedi Felix as he brings us our second cultural capsule. Thank you again, Mr. Felix. And I'm sure a lot of the female teachers would agree that woman is boss in the classrooms. Okay, at this time, we will have our discussion on the theme, and I invite our members on the chat to please pose your questions there. We already got some. And our panelists for today's discussion, but before I go there, our moderator would be Mr. Dion Rodriguez, the chairman of the Tobago District. Our panelists, our featured speaker, Mr. Ian Daniel, national ROs, Mr. Kerry Brooms and Mr. Kevin Kerr, immediate past second vice president, Mrs. Kula Robertson Thomas. So I now invite Mr. Rodriguez, our moderator, for this panel discussion.
Thank you very much, Mr. Benjamin. A pleasant good morning, and all protocol observed. Indeed, this morning is flowing nicely, and we'd like to start the discussion one time. A pleasant good morning to our head table again, Mr. Daniel, and our IR officers, and our immediate past second VP, Mrs. Robinson. So at this time, the first question, what strategies do we suggest as an educator for teachers to overcome the systemic challenges in the classroom? You would have mentioned, Mr. Daniel, that whole aspect of mental challenges and teachers' mental health. So a teacher is asking, and because of interest, what are some of the strategies you suggest to overcome those systemic challenges to redefine themselves as a teacher?
The issue for me in relation to mental health is understanding the challenge of mental health in the entire society. The experience of COVID unleashed a lot of stress on people, and you started to see the effects of that. But we have lived in a violent society for a very long time. Violence is a natural part of our history, of our culture, and of our daily existence. And this must be tied to the experiences that people have that produce bad mental health outcomes. And then you go into the trenches in the school and you meet student after student after student after student with coping problems. So talking about mental health doesn't mean that we're looking at people who are mentally ill, although we have a lot of mentally ill people walking around outside there, which is not a problem because you have people who have diabetes, and it's about how do you manage and treat and cope with these things. So for me, one of the most important things is that we have to address mental health in schools as a priority. The ratio of social workers to students is abysmal. Students must have access to mental health support in schools so that teachers don't become the eaters of stress, their own stress, and the stress of every student who sits in front of them. I don't know how we survive that. I know in the tertiary system, I have myself suffered from that. And so you need to build in a system of mental health support for students, and then you need to layer on that the same mental health support for teachers who have the stress of teaching and the stress of their own lives as well. And so until we make mental health just another health issue and treat it with the resource investment that is required, particularly in the education system, we are going to face a lot of the problems, the wider problems of society, like crime, that we face simply because we're not making the proper investment, and like teacher burnout, because teachers just don't have enough support facing up with all of these challenges on a daily basis.
Good morning. Coming off of what Ian just said, we have to treat mental health as something that is real and not a joke. We're a society that does not take mental health issues seriously, and unless we can see blood pouring from somebody or bones that are in contortion, we don't believe that people are suffering from anything. So people are not ready to share until they have a full catharsis or a meltdown. And even then, we trivialize and we minimize it. And that is society. And of course, we are speaking about us as teachers, as educators, the whole education landscape. So yes, there is the context of dealing with the children, who we often think don't suffer from these things, but they are just younger, smaller versions than the adults. And some of them are not capable of truly expressing how they feel and what they are going through. Then you have the layer of the teachers in classroom and what they are facing with all of the lovely things Mr. Daniel said earlier, the climate change, the overcrowded classrooms, the lack of resources, but still being expected to produce 150% every day. Then there's the layer of the principals who have to treat with the issues of both the students and the staff, whether teaching or non-teaching staff. And we must not forget that we have a layer called supervision, who's caught in the middle of trying to make sure that they manage not one school, not two schools, but sometimes in excess of 30 schools at a time, depending on the shortages that they have. And let's go back to the Student Support Services Division. You are asking a human being who, yes, is trained to treat with some of these issues, but who themselves are humans. And they don't have one school or 10 children. They have schools and many children, and they also are experiencing problems of their own. And there's nobody to move it to when they are assigned to a school, when they are going through their own humanness. So we have to become that community of support that does not treat each other as if we are pariah in the school when we are exhibiting stressful situations and we are looking for help, but we are being ridiculed, or we are being made the staff joke, or we are being discussed with the parents in a negative way, who themselves, we didn't touch them, but they are coming with all of their problems and emotions, and then you are calling them to tell them that little Mary or little Johnny is becoming a problem in your school, and they already don't know where to turn. So we all, as a society, not just teachers, not just educators, we all as a society have to embrace that mental health is very real for all of us. Some of us may actually have paperwork, and some of us don't even know we need to get paperwork until we end up in the middle of the road half naked, cussing away somebody. So that's as real as we need to get with this situation.
Mr. Bruce?
Following on from what Kula was saying, I start with Student Support Services. TTUTA has made several requests to have meetings with the Ministry of Education concerning the structure of the Student Support Services, and we are having problems with it because you have a body that is tasked with dealing with students who have issues, including mental health issues, and they are understaffed, underfunded, and they don't have a proper structure at this time. We have been asking for the structure of Student Support Services. We have not received it. And within the unit, there are issues that are not being addressed. So when these issues are not addressed, they are then not as equipped as they should be to deal with the mental health issues in schools. When one special ed teacher or one guidance officer has way more than they should have, the load they should have in terms of numbers of students, then that of course creates a problem. As Kula just said, they are human too. And they, if overburdened, will be stressed out and maybe not be as effective as they need to be. In terms of the teachers, we have the EAP. But I am sure if this were a live audience and I asked for hands of persons who try to access EAP, then we would see that persons would say they had to wait for several months. In some cases, some persons were never called back. And when you are stressed or when you are having mental health issues, you need immediate support. You don't need support 2 months down the road or 6 months down the road. You need immediate support. So something needs to be done to beef up this employee assistance program, because as the name suggests, it's supposed to assist employees who are having emotional and mental issues, and this needs to be done in a timely manner. Disciplinary action. You know that the Ministry of Education, and it is because of how the laws we have, they treat with persons who act out because of mental health issues. They treat with them by initiating disciplinary action most times because their hands are tied. That's all they can do. When some of these persons have certification from the mental hospital at St. Anne's that they have been warded there at some time, they are outpatients, but the laws don't permit for the employer to ask somebody to go for mental health evaluation. The only thing they can do is discipline this person and hope that somewhere in the process they will get help. Now that may be a good definition of madness, because we are taking persons who we know for sure who have mental health issues and adding further stress to their lives by disciplining them, and with the hope that at some stage in the process somebody will say, you know, let's get this person some help. And that is a very real problem. And the last point I want to touch on is stigma. You know, Kurla spoke about it somewhat. The stigma comes from children, parents, co-workers, employer. Oh, she mad. We know about that. That is how we treat with mental health in many instances. But, you know, as an association, we always encourage professional behavior. And we have a code of ethics and a section that says we have a commitment to our colleagues. So if you know or if you suspect that a colleague may have mental health issues, reach out in a helpful way and be confidential about it as much as possible. Don't go walking around telling everybody he mad or she mad, but try to assist them or get them the assistance they need as best as possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Brooms, and for the commentators on that. So the questions that are coming in are surrounding the same discussion and the same theme as it relates to teacher burnout, holistic health and development of our teachers. And we are seeing, based on the discussion that is preferred, that there's a need for the rebuilding of the system in Trinidad and Tobago as put forward by Mr. Daniel. So this question is to Mr. Daniel. What are the tenets? What are the framework? What should the new system, this rebuilt system, what should it look like? Can you give us a picture of exactly what this new system should look like? Thank you.
I wish I could. But there are some things that stick out for me. My best time in primary school as a teacher was when I was just thrown into the thing out of A-levels, and I'm sitting in the same room with Juliana Valdez in Superior Boys RC, and she was mentoring me, and the system became lead teacher and support teacher, and there were things that I did well that she allowed me to lead in, and then there are things that she did well. She had eyes behind her head, and I was in support, and while she was teaching, I was roaming the class and helping the students. I believe that is the system of teaching. Why do we expect to have one teacher in a classroom? Why not have a system with multiple teachers in the same classroom? Supporting each other. We have the need for student supervision after hours. That doesn't have to be the teacher who did the 8 to 4. We have a need for homework centers that don't need to be in the school, but that could very easily be placed in the school. That could be other teachers as well. We have a need to build community, the whole community center system, filled out by teachers who are not necessarily the 8 to 4 teachers either. We need to teach our population to be inventful, to be artistic, to be expressive in community. So there's a community layer of education that needs to be applied as well. So basically what education is limited by our imagination. If we can imagine a way to help people learn at all levels of their lives and where they are in their lives, because coming to a school might not be the place that you need to be to learn, then we build our education system on that, and we look around the world to see where people are being successful, and we send not a government minister, not a supervisor, we send teachers and principals to those places to see what they're doing, to come back and try to apply that in context. So I can't spell out the whole system, but these are some of the things that I think would need to be done to build the new system.
Thank you very much, Mr. Daniel. Indeed, a community response is critical. Now, I know that we can expound on the topic, but I think that you would have done fairly well to give us a sense and a framework of what this rebuilding of the T&T system should look like and the part that the community at large should play. I want to pose this question to Ms. Curla Robinson Thomas. And the question has to do with special education children. So it's a two-part system. One, what do we do to help our special education children, especially those parents who have financial challenges? And the second question has to do with the time it takes to get a diagnosis and aid for these special needs children who can be of value to our society. We live in a society that many times we think that these persons cannot contribute to the development of the society. And more often than not, they are not given the level of treatment and respect that they need. So can you comment on that?
Again, good morning. So this goes back to the way our education system is layered. So it's frustrating for class teachers to deal with special ed children. And I hope when we say special ed, we don't only speak about those who may have developmental issues. Yes, because special needs children, because we often forget those who are operating in a higher class level, those who are gifted and so on in that group. we have nothing really in our system to really cater for those things. Because while we have the special educator who is to come and be of a service to provide strategies and so on for a class teacher to use, we have several different types of special needs children in almost every classroom. And we have one teacher. So as Ian said, we need to go where we can have, which is built in, to have an assistant teacher with a trained teacher in a classroom. The titles exist, the position exists, but the assistant teachers are usually on their own, fighting their own battles in the classroom like everybody else. So the structure needs to be revitalized to put all of the ideals in each school. We also don't have in Trinidad and Tobago many schools to treat with the various types of special needs that we have. And each child is deserving of an education as is prescribed for in the Education Act and the Constitution of the land. So what the government has been forced to do is to allow for all schools to have inclusive education so that parents can access a school in their community. But how do you do that effectively when the school doesn't have the ability to treat with your child? And how do we get the powers that be to start building facilities that are in nearer reach, so the child that lives in La Brea doesn't have to go to find school for the blind in Santa Cruz, and so on. And that's the challenges that these children have, and that's the challenges that we all have. The special educator can only work with children when they are really diagnosed, because then they know what strategies to put forward for those children. Part of the problem is they want you, the classroom teacher, who is observing this child daily, to make the anecdotal notes, to do the referral that they are waiting on. The classroom teacher is saying, I'm overwhelmed. I don't have the time to sit down and do that for the 5 or 6 children. Because I kid you not, there is not one child. There are many children. So the system needs the resources to be able to cater for all of us, to be able to effectively deal with those special needs. Let's talk about the autistic children. Where are they going to go? Let's talk about those who are diagnosed with mental issues that the schools cannot prepare for. We only have Wharton Patrick. It's oversubscribed and it's in St. Anne's. How does the children from other areas access that kind of facility? So they're put in a corner, the parent is frustrated, the child is usually beaten and otherwise dealt with negatively from the home, comes to school, and then they have to treat with a teacher who is now pulling out his or her hair in trying to get that child to sit quietly, that child to do his or her writing. And let's talk about those children who might be school age, but they're not ready because they're wearing diapers or they have to eat a special diet that the classroom teacher nor the aides from the Ministry of Education will not have the authority to look after, but the parent doesn't have the money to find a private institution to put them in. So these children stay at home. These children frustrate everybody from the home to the school, right? So the parents are being denied, and a lot of the times the ability to send their children to school when they want to, and also it's very hard for a parent to accept that they have made a child that is not fitting the norm. So sometimes they are at the stage of denial and they are not going to where they can get the help. So the whole system, as Ian said, has to be overhauled to allow us to have more than one teacher in a classroom so that we can focus attention on those who need more of us, and to have the school nurses, to have the special educators live in the school and not be assigned to a school for 1 day a week, which is simply not enough time for them to be as effective as they can be. And then the support for the teacher who is going to be receiving all of these strategies to work with these, and different strategies for each child depending on their diagnosis, and then still have to focus on the mainstream curriculum. So it's a system overhaul, as Mr. Daniel has said, that will be required for us to really effectively give these children a brighter future and give the teachers and everybody else involved the ability to do their jobs and maintain their own sanity.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that contribution. And as we wrap up, because we haven't received any more questions, I want to pose to Mr. Kerr a question that, as we encapsulate everything that was said, and this whole idea of rebuilding and redefining the education system, one person said, we have a voice. It is a voice that speaks to the whole or to the self. And that's critical. This voice that we have, are we speaking to the self or are we speaking to the whole? Should we, with this voice that we have as an association, go forward to start the discussion and create the space and the energy to have this rebuilding of the education system? Mr. Kerr?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. When we speak about this, we spoke about framework just now. A framework is very much important if you are to build that holistic empowerment of the teacher. So I'm a firm believer that a teacher should be properly equipped in order to do his or her job. The employer, being the Ministry of Education, they won't take it seriously unless every teacher out here is properly equipped with the facilities, the infrastructure, the tools that are necessary for them to do their job in a proper manner. If we are serious about education in this country, we must properly equip ourselves, our teachers, to properly do the job that is required. We must first acknowledge just what we need to do. We must acknowledge this. We must support peer support programs in order to have a holistic understanding of what is needed of our teachers in order to properly pass on this information to our students. Teachers are seen as the nation builders of the future, and for good reason as well. The level of emotional intelligence that is required of teachers to properly pass on this to our students who are going to in turn be our next generation. This is the biggest framework that is required overall by our teachers, and the ministry must recognize this. So it is all about preparing ourselves for success in the future, not simply getting by doing the minimum allowing for our teachers now. We see the state of our schools. We see that the ministry is the employer in the process here. So therefore, equip our teachers with the tools necessary to do our job, and that is the best way to get the most out of our teacher body in developing the process going along.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kerr. And we want to thank the teachers in the space, both on Zoom and YouTube, for your questions. We have come to the end of this question and answer segment. So now I return you to our chair, Mr. Benjamin.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez, and thank you to our feature speaker, Mr. Ian Daniel, and our panelists who answered those many questions posed as our colleagues reach out for the needed answers to our many questions that we face on a daily basis. At this time, I'm going to invite Ms. Vindra Kasi. Ms. Vindra Kasi to present to our feature speaker, Mr. Ian Daniel. Let him give you a mic. You give me that mic? Just now.
Mr. Daniel, it is indeed my pleasure to present to you this morning a small token of appreciation on behalf of the Trinidad and Tobago Unified Teachers Association. You have successfully navigated us through this topic, really focusing on the wider environment, education, and teachers, but in particular focusing on the role of tutor and how we impact the education system for the teachers we need, for the education we want. And I also understand that this morning you're celebrating your birthday. So I also want to wish you a very special birthday on behalf of all of us. Thank you.
Well, I just want to say thank you again for having me here. It is always a pleasure being with you. I look around the room and at the head table and acknowledge that I have been in class with so many of you here. As I said, I've been a teacher since I was in primary school. This is perhaps the most important job in the world, and I wish you the best. In so many ways, it's a thankless job, but it takes true heroes to be able to do this day after day and come back the next day to take some more. So thank you once again for having me.
Thank you again, Mr. Daniel. At this time, we will honor our young teachers. So, our Young Teacher of the Year 2023 recipients, and these are the criteria that had to be met for those persons we are about to bring to the podium. Financial member for at least 2 years, 35 years or younger, and this covers our colleagues in the ECC, primary, secondary, and tertiary level. And we are looking at those persons for the period November 2022 to June 2023. From the St. George East District, we recognize Ms. Marina Ferdinand, and I invite Mr. Kerry Brooms to present the token to Ms. Ferdinand.
Miss Marina Ferdinand, 28 years old, has always had a passion for teaching since the tender age of 5. This young educator obtained her teacher's registration number at the age of 18. Before her appointment as a teacher in the Ministry of Education, she tutored privately as she awaited the completion of her bachelor's degree in education at the University of Trinidad and Tobago, Valsayn campus. By this time, she had already completed her associate degree in social work at the University of the West Indies. In May, Ms. Ferdinand of 2021 was successful in her interview and joined the teaching service, where her first appointment is at Dabadi Government Primary School. The following year, she was approached by the then staff representative, who encouraged her to become a member of Tutor. Without hesitation, Marina was eager to do so. Being a new member of Tutor, at the school staff representative elections, Ms. Ferdinand was successfully elected as the staff representative of Dabadi Government Primary School. Ms. Ferdinand is the following year, she was approached by the then staff representative, who encouraged her to become a member of Tutor. Without hesitation, Marina was eager to do so. Being a new member of Tutor, at the school's staff representative elections, Ms. Ferdinand was successfully elected as the staff representative of Dabadi Government Primary. Ms. Ferdinand is currently the coordinator of several committees at her school. She has contributed positively to the school by working with the administration to resolve issues which may arise among staff members. Marina Ferdinand was added to the St. George East District Chat upon seeing a request for the marchers to represent the district in Tutor Sports and Family Day She eagerly volunteered. She then recruited 3 other members to join the team. Of course, she was a direct contributor for the district winning the 2023 March Past competition. Wanting to do her best at her school and tutor, she regularly attends the DSRA meetings. She even recently attended the staff representative training. She encourages members of Tutor throughout the country to become more active in Tutor. She also advocates that all staff representatives should act as a catalyst to foster positive relationships between the administrators and staff members.
From the St. Patrick District, I ask for the bio of Mr. Anthony Williams.
Mr. Anthony Williams is a teacher 3, physical education at Superior East Secondary School. He is a husband and father of 2, soon to be 3, that values family life. He's a sports enthusiast and also engages in other cultural and community. He has been a member of Tutor since 2019 and an active member of the St. Patrick football team. He has a passion for teaching, and his goal is to have a positive impact on today's youth by being a role model and an agent of change. His philosophical view on education is that all persons can learn. We all have our individual strengths and weaknesses, and it is up to us as individuals to capitalize on our strengths. Education is not just something that is formal and only consists of academics. For holistic development, education needs to be viewed on a broader spectrum, which includes all aspects of life, and have one common goal in making the world a better place.
I now invite Ms. Kula Robinson-Thomas to present the St. Patrick's Young Teacher of the Year, Mr. Anthony Williams. Thank you, Ms. Thomas. From the Southeastern District, I ask for the bio of Ms. Kathleen Aman.
Ms. Kathleen Aman is a proud Mayaro Secondary School teacher in the Southeastern District. She is the bearer of a Bachelor of Arts in Linguistics, minor in Literature and English with honors, and a postgraduate diploma in education with distinction. This is her 6th year as a teacher after leaving corporate life in telecommunications and banking to pursue her lifelong dream as an educator. She has a true passion for education, both in and out of the classroom. Her commitment to her students is one to admire. She strives to create a community of learners that nurtures their growth not only in academia, but also socially, linguistically, and in philanthropy. So attuned to her duty, she even relocated not only herself, but also her family to be in the same community she teaches. Like Salt, she is actively involved in everything and is a member of various clubs and committees aimed at the holistic development of her students, such as ICT, RI, House and Sports, various fundraisers and events, just to name a few. Anything aimed at improving the life of her students, she is there. Let us welcome Ms. Kathleen Aman.
Hold on. Wait, Kevin. Wait, Kevin. I invite Mr. Kevin Kerr to present to Ms. Kathleen Aman, the Young Teacher of the Year of the Southeastern District. Thank you, Mr. Kerr, and congratulations again. From the Port of Spain and Environs District, I ask for the bio of Ms. Christana Dalrymple.
Ms. Christana Dalrymple is a primary school teacher and has been at Chinapoo Government Primary School in Mouvant for the past 12 years. She also taught at the preschool level before entering the government service. At her school, Ms. Dalrymple runs all fundraising and social affairs activities. She holds an Associate of Science in Elementary Education from the University of the Southern Caribbean, a Bachelor of Science in the same field with a major in Language Arts from Andrews University, and a certificate in dance and dance education from the University of the West Indies. Ms. Dalrymple became a staff representative in 2015 and has held the position since. As a member of the Port of Spain DSRA, she has served on the district executive as a convener, secretary, assistant secretary, delegate to conference, member of CSAC, and district representative on the Publicity and Public Relations Committee. Ms. Dalrymple has participated in many of the association's call to action, Labor Day celebrations, Sports and Family Day, as well as CGI events. Ms. Dalrymple believes that education provides individuals with the opportunity to live a life of their choosing, as education extends outside the perimeters of literacy and numeracy, and has dedicated herself to showing her charges this. When not in the classroom, Ms. Dalrymple helps with gathering content for Spiritual Baptist Radio and runs her business entitled Jadal Creations, which specializes in custom-made teas, cups, tumblers, gift boxes, etc., using her creativity to bring joy to others. Her hobbies include reading, dancing, and trying new food places. She believes in being authentic because living a happy life is about finding balance. Just know that everyone's scale looks different. May yours ever tip in your favor. Ms. Christana Dalrymple, Port of Spain and Environs District.
Thank you. And she's been okay, and to present to Ms. Dalrymple, we have our General Secretary, Ms. Katie Beckles. And that was the Young Teacher of the Year for the Port of Spain and Environs District, Ms. Christana Dalrymple. At this time, for the Northeastern District, I ask for the bio of Kiva Ann Blackman.
Kiva Ann Blackman, a music teacher and a performer, attained her BA in Musical Arts with honors, certificate in music, specifically the steel pan, and artist diploma in musical performance from the University of the West Indies and the University of Trinidad and Tobago, respectively. Ms. Blackman has been a member of the Pan of Praise Steel Orchestra for 23 years, to which she assisted as music director within the last 10 years. Ms. Blackman has been a member of the teaching service for 6 years, a member of Tutor for 6 years. Presently, she serves within her second year as the tutor staff rep at the Manzanilla Secondary School and currently serves as a tutor executive floor member in the Northeastern District. Let us welcome Ms. Kiva Ann Blackman.
And to present to Ms. Kiva Ann Blackman, we have Mr. Adish Dwarka. Our Young Teacher of the Year for the Northeastern District, Ms. Kiva Ann Blackman. Okay, so we go across the waters, and I ask for the Young Teacher of the Year for our Tobago District, Mr. Darius Charles.
This young man aptly exemplifies the Young Teacher of the Year award. Mr. Charles lives by the mantra, do your best and God will do the rest. Mr. Charles assists in the development of his young charges at school in the area of football, cricket, and track and field. Additionally, in his community, he also assists in the same areas of sporting and in providing remedial classes for struggling students free of charge. Darius created a narrative writing guide after he saw students were struggling with creative writing at the school in which he was teaching. He is currently working on hosting an in-school mental maths competition where he teaches. This ambitious young man has also started putting together a compilation of mathematics questions which he intends to convert into a mathematics activity workbook for his charges, as well as to share with his colleagues. Mr. Charles holds a Bachelor in Education from the University of Trinidad and Tobago and is presently reading for his Master's in Teaching and Learning with Emerging Technologies. This young man would have taught at Signal Hill Government Primary School and North Regional SDA and is currently a teacher at Table Peace Government Primary, all schools being situated in Tobago. Mr. Charles is also a dedicated member of the Tobago District Tutor football team, in addition to representing the district in other related social activities such as Sports Day. The Tobago District is honored to present this award to dynamic and committed Mr. Darius Charles. On behalf of the Tobago District of Tutor, we say thank you and keep up the excellent work.
And to present to Mr. Darius Charles, we have Ms. Natasha Baran Ramtahal. Our Young Teacher of the Year awardee for the Victoria District, I ask for the bio of Janelle Baldeo.
Miss Baldeo is 33 years old and presently a teacher at the Mohes Hindu Sanatan Dharma Mahasabha School. Having worked in various sectors, Miss Baldeo followed her passion of being a teacher and joined the teaching profession in 2017. She has been an active member of Tutor since her appointment and was elected as a staff representative of her school, a post which she has held for the last 5 years. Based on her strength of frequency of attending DSRA meetings, vibrancy, networking, and social skills, Ms. Balde was chosen as the zonal convener for DEBE in the Victoria District Executive this year. Recently, Ms. Balde attended Tutor's Artificial Intelligence Workshop in July. She has volunteered and worked for Tutor's national elections, attended staff representative trainings and meetings, offering her assistance and willingly fulfills her duties when needed. Ms. Balde is a past student of Naparima Girls High School and the holder of her bachelor's in education from UE Roy Tech. and presently is pursuing her Master's in Science at UE, the University of the West Indies. She has been one of the SEA teachers at her school where her students have been very successful. She is thankful to her mother, also a teacher, Mrs. Renu Baldeo, who has been her role model and shaped her into the teacher she is today. Miss Janelle Lisa Baldeo.
And to present to Ms. Janelle Baldeo, we have Mr. Dion Rodriguez. And at this point, I'd like to be a mention to the Young Teacher of the Year awardee for the Caroni District, and they are having their physical convention, Ms. Fadila Mohammed Ramata. So let's congratulate all our Young Teacher of the Year awardees for 2023. At this time, I invite us to pay attention to our screens as we present some video tributes. Our first will be from the Southeastern District. Thank you. And that was distribution of bursaries by the Southeastern District. Next, we have a presentation to Mr. Nigel Pierre of the St. George East District for his sterling representation.
The St. George East District presents
Hi, good day. My name is Nigel Pierre. I teach at St. Joseph Boys RC. I am currently in second year level, which is it's a really nice level. Those boys are more mature than we all give them credit for. I have been teaching since 2007, which would be 16 years. My first appointment would have been at St. Dominic Xavier RC, which is Bartara Boys. Became a staff rep in 2019, which would have been the cusp of the pandemic period. Before that, I was not as involved in the union because I was a part of the sit and complain team. I complained about everything and I sat and I did nothing. And then I realized that sitting and doing nothing would not get you the changes that you need to get. So I decided to become proactive and I have not looked back ever since.
Nigel Pierre, for your efforts from 2019 to present as staff rep, we award you for sterling representation.
Thank you. At this point, the chairman would like to present an award, and this is our Chairman's Recognition Award for 2023, and I invite the bio of the recipient to be read.
Today, the district chairman wished to pay special homage to a highly dedicated and humble servant within the union. This individual has been a tutor member since the inception of his teaching career, a period of 21 years strong. However, full baptism took place in 2011 on the fields as a marcher for the Victoria District at his first Tutor Sports and Family Day. He was at that time invited by the now General Secretary, Miss Katie Beckers. Approximately 10 years ago, the then first Vice President, Miss Antonia Teca de Freitas, invited this goodly gentleman to take pictures at a professional advancement workshop for principals, vice principals, senior teachers, and deans. The request later continued from past third Vice President, now present President of Tutor, Mr. Martin Lumpkin, and later followed by the immediate past third Vice President, Mr. Darren Leham. This talented teacher later encouraged National Tutor to showcase and market itself digitally. He further assisted the union to accomplish such goals. His aim? To give members a better idea of what Tutor does for its members. He is responsible for the uploading of pictures that highlight respective districts at the annual conference of delegates, sporting activities, and other events. He is also that individual that does the magic to make the St. George East Convention presentations come alive. Beginning as a staff representative at Mount Hope Secondary in 2012, he became a proud son of the St. George East District. Ladies and gentlemen, we present the District Chairman Award to honor the very committed and established information technology and cameraman, the very humble Mr. Loris Scobie.
And to present to Mr. Scobie, I call Mrs. Avanel Lewis Etienne. Miss? Mr. Loris Scobie. Thank you, Ms. Etienne, and again, a well-deserving award. At this time, again, we turn our eyes to the screen as we present a video for long-standing recipients of the St. Patrick District.
St. Patrick DSRA, Kim Edwards Bedu, Dehan Seram, Selby Whiteman, Babulal Ramsubag, Ramkaran Singh. Thank you for your dedicated service.
Thank you again. Honoring those long-standing recipients in the labor of education. At this time, we will have a video testimony, and it's a cancer awareness testimony from Ms. Bernadette Alspier of the Victoria District.
Stop, you mocking pretenders, deliverers of information that is fake and false, that they takes away health and life. I am the humanity robber. I am the great Draco, descendant of the royal Canceros, the family that has come from generation to generation to destroy the heart and the mind of the woman. And we do that with our thing we call cancer. So yes, everybody in a pink ribbon today, but newsflash, a ribbon for one day cannot keep cancer away, because we have the power to take away teeth your head. Because once we take one breast, two breasts, you can't be a woman again, and no man want that. Hold up, Mr. Robert. I am the queen of the Jamaica, and I come to bring some joy to the rest of women. But let them know that the power is not really in the breast, but the power is in the heart. So step back. Step back. Let me say my part. Thought that rubber would have had me. But you know what? Early detection was the key. It was a little itch, and then a painful scratch that caused me to step back and do a mammogram and a sonogram to see what the problem was. Do you know the cancer attacked me? Well, the decision now was lumpectomy or mastectomy. Lumpectomy, I say, or mastectomy. Which will it be? But you know what? By divine powers, mastectomy is what it had to be. And you know, Cancero thought he had me, but check this. No chemo or no radiation therapy for me because of the early detection. And Rama, you're real slow. In this age of AI, we have robotics building back breasts. Yes, we have prosthesis and we have implants to put any woman back in balance. And now to the rest of the Jamaica posse. You need to have a proper diet. Do your exercise on a daily basis. Have regular checkups. All of these things would help. Put God in your life. Remember to pray. Pray without ceasing, it works. Forgive your brother and your sister. Don't harbor hate in your heart, or hurt in your heart. Forgiveness is the key. And that is about the secret to have a cancer-free body. Ashe, ashe, ashe.
Thank you for that presentation from the Victoria District, a very important and critical topic affecting both men and women. At this time, I would like to invite the representative from Prenacool as we do our door prizes and hamper giveaway segment.
On panacool.com, and we will be giving a door prize today. So before we get started, I'm just going to give a short brief of what panacool.com is for those of you who are unfamiliar with us. Panacool.com is a free online learning platform where we not only focus on educational value, but also rewards and recognition of students across Trinidad and Tobago. So we do have an expansion of different types of books, book content, and online content from infants to standard 5s. We also would be giving away these books to you today, where we are going to send you a link via the chat, and you are going to fill this link out, and it's going to expire midnight on Sunday, and Monday we are going to call the winner, and you would then come to our office where you would collect your prize. So the books that we may be giving away today, it all depends on your level. We have maths, English, science, agri-science, social studies, BCCE, and we will be launching creative writing next week. So infants to standard 3s, we will be giving you those books, but standard 4s and 5s, we will be giving you the creative writing book. So we just want to say thank you so much for allowing us this opportunity to award you these books. So please feel free to fill out the forms in the chat. I'm going to send it over, the link over to the chats now. And I'm also going to put some contact information for you where you can contact the office for any website related issues that you are having. And if you would like to purchase any books, you can have a number as well. It's separate from the office number where you can contact a representative. So thank you so much, and I'm going to share the link now for you.
Thank you, Ms. Rees. And just to recap that, so the link has been placed in the chat. It expires midnight on Sunday, and you will be contacted on Monday if you were that successful person. At this time, I ask you to view a small ad on an activity that's upcoming where we teachers can come out and relax. We just heard about mental health, so we do need time to relax as teachers.
All aboard! Ship ahoy! Yes, we come again. Candy Baba weed, it's a mass for me. Wakes me up my slumber, makes me do a number. Yes, we time again, to lose and we break. Find myself a partner, just to ease the pressure. I don't wanna sleep no more.
Right, so we are hoping that all our members, as much as can fit on that boat, will be out on November the 25th. Again, it's funky 90s. I know a lot of teachers, we like to role play for our students, so this is the opportunity to come out and role play on that boat and have a mental health day on you. So at this time, I'd like to invite Mr. Kofi Applewhite, the chairman of the St. George East District, to give us the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This has been a very wonderful and enjoyable morning. The Psalter admonishes and encourages us, I quote, "Oh, give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good." End of quotation. In this virtual environment that affords us the coveted opportunity to boundlessly extend our reaches to many quarters of the globe, it would be remiss of me to offer the conventional, thus to be all-inclusive and reasonably safe salutations. Mine is the simple but necessary responsibility to publicly acknowledge the sterling efforts and invaluable contributions of many individuals who pooled their collective resources to ensure that this convention redounds to the benefit of the corpus. An activity of this nature propels me to invoke the necessary evil. Keep that in mind, please. And implore you to assist me by expressing sincerest gracias to our employer who graciously granted us this day of professional development. Or merci to our tutor national officers for ensuring that this event occurs. Or danke to our district chairman who worked tirelessly to realize this function. Or in other quarters, they say ese, to a competent chairperson in ably keeping this program knitted together. Or dhanyavad to our illustrious feature speaker, my UE tutor, who brought the classroom alive today, the professor in the wings. Gigi, to our knowledgeable panelists who massaged the topic into our understanding. Obrigado to our to our Tobago Secretary of Education and our Tobago comrade who graced us with his presence, Mr. Dion Rodriguez. Shukran lak to our T-Station facilitator who ensured we were constantly sustained. She and her team. Shukran kan. Shukran kan lak. Shukran lak. Shukran lak. Eh? Gracie to our lunch provider for the punctual and sumptuous delivery that we are anticipating of the meal. To our live streaming providers who have transformed this hall into a live studio. Our artists and facilitators. Not that I've run out of expressions, but I'll wrap it up. Members of the Caroni District who assisted us ably yesterday in preparing this hall. To you, our audience, the physical audience, and of course the virtual audience who enthusiastically participated. I want to especially single out our stalwarts today. The survivors and those who have preceded us. Today, what we are able to enjoy, the extent and the lengths to which we have gone, has all been possible because of your sterling investments that today we are seeing have yielded tangible results. Our achievements and our future progress is predicated upon your seeds that were sown and in some cases still being sown. To anyone, to everyone, to all who would have contributed in any and every way to making today a reality. To my colleague who reminded me yesterday in the staff room, Apple, remember to turn off, not turn off, unplug the device. We heard you last year. Don't forget, unplug it. Trisha, it's turned off. No stone of acknowledgement has been left unturned. Everybody, Tutmun bagay. Thank you. Thanks. Or in the local parlance, thanks, eh?
Thank you, Mr. Applewhite. As we come to the end of this year's joint convention, I would like to say thank you for your attendance and ask us to all stand for the Tutors' anthem. Come forward.
Person who wishes to come forward, Dion.
Come. Bright students always to the front of the class. Shine, that's it. That's the white face.
White shine.
Bex.
You feel, you know, she
That's
We will never grow old.
I require the use of